My name is Samantha. I'm 20 years old, and I work at a Walmart in a small town called Jackson, Alabama. Since I don't attend school full-time, my boss often scheduled me for overnight shifts, back when the store was open 24 hours a day. Being a supercenter, there were still a few employees working overnight. My shift that night was from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I was one of only a couple of people stocking shelves, with just 1 or 2 employees at the registers up front. Since our store is in the countryside, we rarely got many customers at these late hours. But overnight is prime restocking time. I didn't really know the other employees working that night, but it didn't matter. The store is huge, and we rarely crossed paths. I started my shift folding pants in the men's department, tidying up the aisles, headphones in, as usual. Around 11:30 p.m., a customer appeared at the jeans section. He asked if we had a different waist size for a pair of pants he had found. I apologized, explaining that we only had what was on the rack. He thanked me and walked away. I accidentally made eye contact with him as he returned the jeans to the rack. It felt awkward, but I went back to my work. As the night went on, the store slowly emptied. By around 1 a.m., it felt like a ghost town. I made my way to the appliances section, moving boxes from the back storage to restock shelves. While pushing a wagon down one aisle, I noticed someone in the next aisle staring at me. At first, he looked away when he realized I'd noticed him. But something about his eyes seemed familiar. I stepped closer and realized it was the same customer from 2 hours earlier. My heart skipped a beat. How could he still be in the store for so long without buying anything? I passed the aisle, trying to see if he was holding anything. His hands were empty. Something didn't feel right. I quickly finished restocking coffee machines and other appliances, then returned the wagon to the back. I stayed there for a while, playing on my phone in the employee lounge, but a creeping sense of unease lingered. I felt like he had been watching me far longer than I realized. When I decided to get back to work, I moved to the grocery section, filling crates with dairy products. Checking expiration dates took time, and the hum of the refrigerators was deafening. That's when I heard the door to the cooler burst open. I peered through a gap in the boxes and froze. It was him. The same man. I dove behind a shelf, shoving a box of eggs in front of me for cover. The noise of the refrigerators masked any sounds I might make. I didn't want to get caught. Moments felt like hours. Finally, I dared to lift my head, and he was there, standing right in front of me, smiling. Panic surged. I screamed, and his smile vanished. He tried to cover my mouth, but I shoved the box of eggs into him. The shells shattered, forcing him back. I ran. I ran until I found another employee, Bob, and begged for help. The man approached us, this time smiling, and said he was from corporate. He apologized for scaring me, claiming he was just checking on my work in the dairy cooler. He even gave me the order to finish the appliance section before walking away. I called out for his name. Tom, he replied, and then he was gone. The next day, I called my manager, Margaret, asking if corporate had sent anyone overnight, and if a man named Tom sounded familiar. Margaret said it was nonsense. No corporate visit had been scheduled, especially not at 2 a.m. The cameras confirmed my fear. This man had been stalking me between the aisles for hours. A police report was filed. I never worked overnight shifts again, and I still get chills thinking about it. Now, I stick to daytime shifts, either stocking or working the register. But I'll never forget that night in Jackson, Alabama. If you want to see the weirdest, freakiest people in society, Walmart is probably the first place to go. I swear, I've never been to a single Walmart where I didn't see at least one person who made me do a double take. But what happened to me that Thursday before Black Friday? That goes far beyond strange. My Walmart was open extra late that night. Around 11 p.m., I was hunting for a new laptop when I finally spotted the last one on the shelf. A model with an incredible Black Friday deal. Just as I reached for it, a huge, grimy-looking man appeared out of nowhere. "I need that laptop," he shouted, his voice aggressive. I stammered. "I'm sorry, it's the last one." He lost it. His anger flared, and he started making a scene. My heart raced. I've never been put on guard like this before. Shoppers nearby were watching, some even laughing nervously and trying to make me feel better, calling him crazy. I grabbed the laptop and quickly got in line, but he kept yelling at me as I walked away. I finally got home. My family was asleep, so I went outside to the yard by the pool and started setting up my laptop. Then the motion-activated light on the side of the house flicked on. Animals sometimes triggered it, but the light made my stomach tighten. I went to check. Nothing. Still, I went inside, locked the doors, and finished setting up my laptop in the living room. Then the car alarm went off, my Cadillac. I looked outside and saw a car parked in front of our house that hadn't been there before. Someone was sitting inside. My heart sank. I ran upstairs to grab my keys and tried using the panic button. It didn't work, so I stepped onto the porch and clicked it manually. That's when I saw him, sitting in the car, watching. I ran back inside and told my mom. I think someone outside means us harm. My dad wasn't home, which made everything worse. My mom followed me downstairs, visibly shaken. She peered through the peephole and gasped. I looked too. Standing on our stoop was a massive man, filthy and wild-eyed. My whisper barely carried. Mom, I think he followed me from Walmart. The doorknob started to turn. He tried to open it. When it didn't budge, he pounded on the door. My mom gasped again. My little sister ran out, crying. The pounding stopped. Silence, except for my mom's voice on the phone with 911. Then a loud crash downstairs. A window had shattered in the den. My mom and sister screamed. I told them to run upstairs while I locked the den door. I waited, heart hammering, expecting him to break in. Minutes passed. Then sirens. The police arrived faster than I could have imagined. I ran outside to guide them to the den. Inside, hiding behind one of our couches, was the huge, filthy man. He was arrested on the spot, screaming profanities and threats the entire time. The cops later told us he seemed unstable, likely on drugs. We pressed charges, and I finally felt safe again. So yes, people watching at Walmart can be funny. But sometimes you might encounter the darkest corners of humanity, lurking just an aisle away. Working the night shift at Walmart as a stock person on weekends was my second job while I was finishing college. I needed to pay off my loans, so I took any work I could get. My role was simple. I didn't deal with customers. I signed for night deliveries, handled warehouse work, and stocked shelves after hours. Shifts were usually from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. or 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. It was Thursday, July 9th, 2015. I was midway through my shift in the electronics department when something caught the corner of my eye. A figure walked past the aisle I was working in. Normally, this wouldn't have bothered me, but there were only two other workers in the building that night, Alvin and Baco. They were in their usual staff shirts. The person I saw was dressed entirely in black. Curious and uneasy, I walked to the end of the aisle to peek around the shelves. No one. I called out Alvin and Baco's names, no response. My skin crawled. Shrugging it off, I returned to my work. I was holding in a pee, planning to wait until the end of my shift. Then, seconds later, a deafening crash echoed a few aisles down. My heart jumped. I ran to investigate and found a bicycle had somehow been knocked off its hook. The hook was fine. Someone had had to intentionally do this. Suspicion gnawed at me as I continued through the aisles. I reached the back of the store, the paper and cleaning supplies section. That's when I heard it, a laugh. A chilling, guttural laugh coming from the next aisle over. My stomach sank. I ran to check, and there he was, a man in black. His back was to me, but his head was twisted just enough for me to see half of his face. Then suddenly he bolted, not toward me, but down another aisle. I could hear his footsteps echoing, surrounding me. I had a choice, chase him or find my co-workers. I chose safety. I located Alvin in the women's department, warned him about the man, and asked him to alert Baco if he saw him. I excused myself. I couldn't hold it any longer. The employees-only bathroom in the warehouse section became my refuge. I sat down in a stall, my nerves taut. Moments later, the door opened. I froze. Who's there? I demanded. No answer. Then that horrifying laugh again. A shadow appeared between the door crack. The figure pressed closer until the crack was fully covered, only one eye visible. Then came whispering. Indecipherable, echoing, and menacing. I grabbed Alvin's number from my phone and called him, yelling for him to get to the bathroom immediately. I stayed on the line as the figure disappeared and then fled the bathroom. Alvin arrived 20 to 30 seconds later, saying he saw no one on the way. We were alone in the building, no security, no cameras. For the rest of the night, I stuck by Alvin. Safety in numbers. I texted my boss, and the next day at 3 p.m., he replied. All camera feeds had returned only static footage from that night. No one had turned off the cameras, yet nothing had been captured. I still get chills thinking about it. That was the only night shift where something truly unexplainable happened. Whoever, or whatever, that was, they vanished without a trace.